Hey guys, I wanted to shoot this video. I've had some people ask me basically my opinions on the upcoming election between Hillary and Trump and everything that's going on, and I've done my best to avoid getting into the middle of it because really, my opinion, I won't say it doesn't matter, but I choose to keep that to myself. But what I want to share is my view on the election as a whole. So before I get into that, I want to share a little story. So if we look in history, and it may not make sense initially, but I'll bring it back around. So I was watching a show the other day called Cosmos, and they broke down basically how natural selection versus artificial selection, and they gave the example of wolves and gray wolves, and how the gray wolf was around initially, and because man decided what happened, the gray wolf, there were a different kind of gray wolf. There was a regular gray wolf that had heightened senses, heightened, they called it nervousness, kind of a nervous energy, and how his biology was functioned to keep the wolf on high alert. And then there was this other wolf that had a less of a stress hormone that kept them not on alert all the time, but was more easier to go towards man, and like basically found itself able to get closer to man, and eventually man domesticated these wolves and turned them into dogs, if you look at it. And so artificial selection is basically turning the gray wolf into the dogs that we have today. And it didn't happen immediately. It happened over hundreds of years. But every dog that we have now, every dog breed has been artificially and intentionally selected to have the traits that we see now: pugs, German shepherds, Pomeranians, dachshunds, all those dogs, Doberman pinschers, etc. They all originated from a wolf. And how it worked is, so these natural selections with wolves kept the wolf high alert, away from man, and basically kept it a gray wolf. And then these other wolves that had these lower stress hormones allowed them to more easily become domesticated, and was less on alert, and was more willing to become friendly with man. And so the ones that had less stress hormones realized through just their natural biological essence that they could be around man and would have better stability. They would have more food, because man would basically, the wolves realized, well, if we don't attack these humans and we don't try and eat them, then they'll allow us to scavenge through their garbage. They'll allow us to eat. They'll allow us some protection with fire, and so they won't attack us. They'll be friends with us. And so you've got the species that diverges at a certain point, and one stays wolves, and they allow them to be themselves, wolves, and then the other ones, they trade basically stability for their freedom, as it were, freedom to be wolves. They basically are artificially channeled away from being wolves, and they're channeled into the dogs that we see today. And so when you look at this, eventually they get to a point where they use these dogs, which were formerly wolves, to protect themselves from the wolves as they come in and try to attack or get food. When they get to a point of uneasiness to where they try and they'll attack humans, or they'll look for food, and et cetera, and they get too close to the human population. So they'll use these dogs against these wolves. And so that basically brings us back to today, where we're at. If you look at it and you replace dogs with whatever, let's say the left, or the and you got the wolves as the right on this election, and then you take humans as the government, you basically have the situation we have today in regards to wolves, dogs, and a human. So if you look at it, you've got the government that is taking and dividing a population and is turning it against itself, which is the same thing we did back in the day with dogs versus wolves. You basically take something that is the same on a level, and turning it against itself. And see, where we're at And how it works is we've convinced ourselves that one way is better than the other. And that's not the case. Neither way is better than the other. It's just which way best serves you and what you're trying to accomplish. And so if you're more predisposed to being a wolf, or you're more predisposed to being a dog, neither one is bad. They both have lives that work for them. It's just a matter of, does it work for you? And the issue we run into is that government, or the humans, if you've listened to if you've listened to, and I've worked myself not to listen to it as much as possible, but if you listen to these ads, they're all smear ads. They're all, this person is bad, or this person is bad, or this person doesn't do it right, or this person has done this. And it's funny, it's either one is taking all your money and giving it to someone else, or one is taking all your money and keeping it for themselves. And so all that they are doing is turning us against us. And by doing that, it removes all of our freedom. It removes all of our ability to love. We're trying to vilify the other side. In reality, we should be loving the other side. We should be loving ourselves enough to realize this isn't serving us. And so if it works to be altruistic and you know, and help other people, and it works for you, and that's the way you want to approach it, that's the way you want to approach it. But it doesn't mean this other side has to do it your way, because that may not be the best route for them. The same way as if I'm going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to give back, then that's okay, and that's the best route too. So the issue, it doesn't matter who you're voting for. Vote for who works best for you. But the thing where we get stuck is, this works best for me, and it has to work best for you, and I'm going to prove to you why it works, and I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong. And so when one person starts pointing and the other person starts pointing, then we get into a fight. Then we start bringing anger. Then we start bringing frustration. Then we start bringing violence. And so we don't really make any lasting change that way. It doesn't matter if we're going to vote this way, because somebody's going to be upset, because it doesn't work for all of us. And so the election and government, it doesn't really matter, because they're two sides to the same coin. They're two heads to the same snake, however you want to put it. Regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, you can find something on that other side to really vilify and really hate, when in reality we should be finding what we love and what we cherish and what we want to promote about that other side. You know, liberals are amazing for wanting to help, the rest of the world, and reach out and help people. And the conservatives are great for running businesses and making money to give back, if that's really what they want to do. There's extremists in every environment. There's extremists in every group. And when you focus on the extremists, you're gonna find that more often than not, it is not a valid representation for that group. And so, I'm going a little long here, but I really wanted to share that message. Find what works for you. Find the way to love your neighbor as you should love yourself, and really think, are you really doing what's right for you, or are you trying to convince somebody else that it's right for them? And so, just think about that message and vote the way you should for you. And that's really all you got to worry about. If someone else votes with the way that's right for them, it's right for them. So that's my message. Again, you guys have a good week, good weekend. Pay it forward. Hopefully it made sense. It resonated with some people. Hopefully, it'll ease some anger, ease some frustration, and ease some hate. That's really all I'm here for and all I'm looking to promote. So have a good weekend, guys. Pay it forward, share it, like it, comment on it, and I'll talk to you later.